Hello everyone. I don't know if you've been following these videos, but in fact medieval Cassin's Foot Knight, and in the bottom half are. So if you're around and you're here and you want to ask any questions, you can put them in at the chat. Citadel Mephiston Red, which is this one here, and then pure red from Army Painter. So the red I've been using is the dark red, and then the lighter red added in, and then the lighter red on its own. So I'm just going to continue to do that with a horse and talk you through what I've been doing. So I've added a little bit, just 2 seconds. Yeah, if you're listening and you're wanting to hit the like button, then please do. That'll let us know you're here as well. So I've been taking the red that I've got in my palette here, and I've been taking a little bit off the yellow, which I've just been using the Games Workshop Uriel yellow, hard to say, I don't know what the real name of that is, but that's the paint there. I just go with colours rather than names. And then I've been fading it by adding a little bit of bone into that, just a tiny wee bit to fade the red. And I'm at the point now where I'm putting the top highlights in. So just to recap, the horse has been given a layer of the dark red. Then I've added a little bit of the lighter red into that and highlighted, just trying to find the very top areas of the highlight. And then I've added in the pure red on its own as a highlight, and now a little bit of yellow and the bleach bone just to try and fade the horse, the cloth on the horse. So I'm taking that mix that I've got and I'm just trying to find the very, very top parts and the edges off the barn on the horse, or the comparison. And I'm just trying to be very accurate when I'm putting the brush now, rather than before, which was just rough brush highlights. Just going through, and I'm actually going to take forever as I'm trying to explain to everyone what I'm doing and paint it at the same time. So I'll be speeding up the painting on the actual horse legs and little bits of furniture and stuff, just to try and get the thing to some kind of completion. So I'm just going around picking up the very, very top parts of the horse, the raised areas, and I'm just using ever so gently touch with the brush now, just trying to find the very, very top raised areas that the light would have been reflecting off. And this is where you could actually over highlight and go too far with the highlight, which I think I'm beginning to do, which would turn it away from being red into being another colour. So if I'm not happy with what I've done, I just add a little bit of red into that mix that I've got and just go back cloth and just going around repairing that, what I've done. So that's the red. You'll get a close-up picture of this on the blog here, so you'll be able to see what detail I've been putting in. And now I'm going to paint the actual horse flesh. I'm going to choose to do this as a brown horse. So I'm going to start off by using a foundry paint, which is Bay Brown. And I'm just going to mix that, and I'm going to take one of my favourite paints, as you've probably realised if you've been watching this, is the Olive Drab. And I'm going to mix that in just to darken that Bay Brown colour, just enough to darken it a little bit. And I'm now going to try and find all the parts of the horse's legs, the underbelly, all the different areas of the horse. I can see where the horse's flesh is shown. Just going around like that. And I've probably got this mixed just a little bit too thin. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in a little bit more paint to thicken it up a little bit. Just take my time, and I don't have to be too accurate at this point. Just trying my best to work parts of the horse, and there's an actually beautifully sculpted, padded armour underneath the comparison on this horse that Matt Bickley's done. So I'm going to give that one of the leathers colours that I've used on the rider, just to try and match it all and blend it all together. And now for the tricky bit, the horse's ears. Make sure that I don't put any paint over the top of all the highlighting of the red that I've done. Yeah, I'm not trying to be too accurate here, but just make sure that I don't touch the red with a brush. And I stick enough paint to apply. Now, one of the things that I was explaining in the videos was that mixing the paint is everything for painting figures. And if you are a beginner and you have your paint too thick and you try to paint on the figure, the brush will, if it paint's too thick and dry, what will happen is your brush will drag and you won't be able to paint a line. If you have your paint too wet, again, the line won't appear. But if you have the paint just right to apply, which is like a milky consistency, and you try and draw a line, it should be a straight line that you're able to paint on the figure. Now, I don't know where I learned that. I think it was in one of the Citadel How to Paint Miniatures books years ago. But it was one of the best things I ever read. I didn't get it to start with, but kept practicing on it and managed to get the technique. You just want the brush, the paint to stay where you're putting it on the figure rather than run around. But you don't want it too thick where you're obscuring the detail as well. Just about there with the horse flesh. As I said, I'm going to speed up a little bit the painting on this just to get this horse finished. I'll put a picture up in a couple of places on my Saxondog Facebook group, and I'll put a picture over the top of the thumbnail on this painting video as well. So that's the horse flesh. I've got a brown horse flesh, so I'd really like the leather armour to stick out a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix up a little bit of desert yellow into that colour that I've just done the horse flesh with. Just making a dirty yellow. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint in the leather armour. On the horse. And just try to make sure, again, don't touch any of the horse flesh, which I just have done. I'll need to go back and fix that, but really that'll only take a second. And trying to find just the parts of the horse armour. What I plan to do is get my Lion Rampant single-based figure project done, and then I'm going to go back to medievals again, and I'm going to do a large multi-base collection for the Battle of Cressy again, one of my favourite battles. Just so you know, Matt Bickley sent me some pictures of the horses he's been sculpting for Claymore Puck Castings over a week ago, and they're looking absolutely fantastic. Thank you, George. It's good to see you here. New horses, yep. Well, do you know what? We didn't want to put any work in progress images up just now because Matt wasn't completely happy with the way they were. The tails were still to be done and things, and we like to try and show the work in progress images when they're getting closer to be completed. But I'm sure we could sneak a figure up for the people that are following this, a picture up for you to let you see what's happening. The new horses are looking absolutely amazing. He's done a fabulous job on them. The movement on them is just amazing. A fantastic movement on the horses. So, George, I'll see if I can send you a picture over, let you see as they're taking shape. And I'll hopefully get a work in progress image out to everyone of the actual first set of Mountain Knights as soon as Matt's happy with sending a working picture, a progress image to me. So just noticed that this is just amazing. He's got little bits of padded armour coming out everywhere on the horse. It just takes a second though to find it, block it in. Just go round now and make sure that that padded armour on the horse is blocked in. Well, looking good. So what I've done is that I've chosen a lighter armour colour on the horse just to contrast with the red and make it stand out a little bit to let everybody see that there is that detail there. So whilst that armour drying, because I'm going to put a wash over that now to pick up the quilt in the armour, I'm going to paint the horse's covered reins, and I've decided to do something radical with that, and I'm going to give him a flamboyant yellow cover over his reins just to make it stand out. But I don't like just using a single yellow. Yellow out a little bit by adding some bone into the mix, and then I'm just going to pick up. This will take yellow as a colour that I enjoy painting, but it often takes about 2 layers to get it to be thick enough to look like yellow and not show the black, because I've decided to use a black undercoat on these figures. So Paul's just asked, why do you paint the rider and the horse at the same time? Why don't you paint them at the same time? I do sometimes, Paul. It's a better joint on the figure if you do that, as you probably know, because I know you're a very experienced modeller and figure painter. But one of the things I like to paint the saddle, get into the bits that you probably can't see, which is crazy, but I do like to do that when I'm trying to take my time over a figure. That's the real reason. It's just so I can get into all the detail on the figure and make sure that I get a paint on it. I hope that's answers your question, Paul. It's good to see you here as well, Paul. My whittering on about the painting, I quite enjoy talking about this. Love to hear what you are working on and what you are doing and how you're painting. Perhaps at some point we can try a Zoom chat or something like that so we could all contribute. So I'm just going around making sure that that yellow is a nice solid yellow and it doesn't have any bits that are missing. Now I know that everybody usually paints the comparison on the horses in the coat of arms colours, but I have seen pictures of many different colours on the horses with just little coats of arms and maybe none at all. painted. So really, this horse could have been painted any colour and some patterns put on it, but that's a lot of work to put patterns in a cloth. So I'm just going to do it quickly and put his coat of arms on the horse. So Paul, she said, no, you have had to paint the rider twice, once or the rider and again for the horse. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Paul. Much quicker ways to do it, as you're saying. I think, would you say horses for courses there? But, yeah. It's just about, to me, it's just about finding the detail. But, as I said, I often actually just glue the riders on and paint them. I'm working on 12 War of the Roses cavalry figures that I've just glued the riders onto. These are for a demo game that I'm doing for my Burgundian Wars. So what else is... Zoom would be great. Yep, I think we should try that, George. We should get a number of us together in Zoom and have a painting chat. That would be fantastic. And Charlie's just said, you see, you're painting these up based singly for Lion Rampant, and not long ago you had a large collection of multi-based. How many times have you painted these same figures? Charlie, I've painted... one of the reasons I done a conversion was to try and stop painting the same figure over again. I have rebased a lot of my figures because I did want to get a game going with my son Finn, and Lion Rampant single based was the easiest way to do it. And if I could just turn this camera around, I'll get Finn to move out of the way because he's a wee bit camera shy. I'll just turn this camera around and you can see my gaming table. Hopefully you'll see the gaming table there. So we're just about ready to start a game together. So they've been on multi-bases, then they went on to single bases, but I am going to do a large multi-based. I've put the yellow round about the horse's rein, the covered rein, and I'm going to try and be a little bit clever here. I'm going to get a much fine detailer brush, and I'm going to inlay a small pattern into that. Just try and find a good brush. The brushes are in a terrible state. I'll use experienced figure painters out there will be laughing at the state of my brushes. I'm not really good with brushes. I need to clean them better. I just seem to be painting in a hurry all the time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a cross pattern on the horse's reins. And then I'll just zoom in a little bit there. And then I'm going to dot inside the pattern just to make it look like it's Paul, why don't I use clean water for my mixes? Laziness. I think that's the best way to put it. I'm not trying to make this figure any kind of fantastic, award-winning, fabulous figure. I'm just trying to get a quick job done on the figure. If I was painting something for a painting competition or something like that, which I don't always enter these things, but if I was doing that, then I would be a wee bit more careful with my water. Yeah, but to answer your question truthfully, Paul, it's laziness. So what I've done on the mix here is I've taken the yellow that I had, I've added a little bit of bone, and I've added a little bit of white into that, and I've got a very, very fine detail brush, which is a Rosemary's 1000, and I'm going to really try and take my time now and concentrate and put a pattern onto the horse's reins. So I'm using this with my eye just to make sure that the pattern can be seen. So I'm just going to put a series of downward strokes. Again, you can actually see a close-up of the miniature because it is so faint. And then I'm going to make a zigzag pattern just by taking that down from one of the top of the downward stroke to the bottom now. Just try and get that as fine as I can. Just hold my breath as I'm dragging these very fine lines around the figure. Probably like every painter, I think I can get this better a million times I do it, but it's just a case of trial and error. And I'm going to take the same and I'm going to highlight around the edge of the horse's covered rein just to make it stick out. And now what I'm going to do is quickly paint a very, very fine pattern, fleur-de-lis pattern, or the impression one, in the gaps that I've made in the pattern, which is just tiny little brush strokes, just to give the impression that there's something there. Do the same on the other side. So let's just pick up a pretense of a pattern rather than a real pattern. Yeah, George, that's a good idea. Why don't you use a different brush for mixing? Great idea. Laziness, again. How do you mix your paints? Do you do that, George? Do you use a different brush for mixing your paints together? Now I'm just going to take the olive drab and I'm going to paint in the horse's reins that are not covered. Just taking my time, getting all the strappings and the olive drab colour. It's looking okay. Now what I'm going to do is, remember the armour that I was painting underneath the barn? So Paul uses a separate brush to mix as well. You're probably right, I'd get longer out the brushes, probably a better point on them as well. So I'm going to take a little bit of the desert yellow and I'm going to mix olive drab into that, and I'm actually just going to make a dirtier version of the lighter armour. I'm going to use that as a wash, and now what I'm going to do is, went too far with that. That's looking about the right shade now. What I'm going to do is take that as a wash, and I'm going to wash over the armoured leather armour parts. It's underneath the horse's comparison. Just enough to pick up the quilt inlaid pattern and leave the lighter colour shining over at the top. That's looking okay. It's really picking up the quilted armour. Oh, made a mistake there. Just take that back out. That's beginning to look okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the horse's saddle. I'm going to just take some of the flesh colour that I was using on the horse, and I'm going to paint the saddle in because it's a nice rich brown. I like that, and I'm going to make it look leathery by adding in another colour. Yeah, Paul, paints get totally mucked up like that. As I was saying to you guys when you first started watching this, I've had a number of painters at the house who's come and watched me for years, and they get absolutely amazed at the mess that I paint in. And again, for me, it's all about getting numbers done for the table, as everyone else. So muck the paints up, but I quite like that because I really just paint with my eye rather than the colours on the bottle. So if one colour paint does change its colour, then I'm okay with that. So I'm just finishing up the horse's saddle and the strap that goes underneath the belly. Hopefully when this is done, your eye will be drawn to the well, what I've got here, Charlie, is I've got a bit of plastic cellophane, and if you just take a wee bit of water into that, the water can stay there for quite a while. A lot of people I know use wet pallets and fantastic equipment like that. I'll need to try something like that at some point, but I've just got used to the way that I paint. And I think that's the truth for most painters when they look at tips. And I mean, I've picked so much up over the years by asking questions from other painters. But the reality is, if you're painting in a one style or one way, there's a good chance that you won't change what you're doing. So I've got myself into some really bad habits. But I'm happy with what's coming out at the other end, so that's the main thing. I said if I was going to be trying to enter these into some kind of painting competition, I would certainly be taking an awful lot more time and have cleaner water and mixing cleaner than what I'm doing now. Again, it's very difficult to actually paint and talk to use put in. It's a bit wet yet, you won't really see that till it's dry. Just move the chat down to see if there's any other questions getting asked. And that's drying. What I'm going to do now is take the desert yellow that was doing the armour, and I'm going to mix it with the colour that I had before that was doing the shade, just to make a lighter version. And I'm just going to pick out the quilted raised areas of the armour. Now, I've seen the way that George highlights armour, and it's amazing. Especially the quilted and leather armours that George has been painting. But I love that, but I'm going to do a quicker version of that. I'm just going to pick up the quilted areas that are very, very raised. It's like a diamond-shaped quilt that's on the armour underneath the horse. And I also think that bit would be picking up a lot of dirt as the horse is moving around, so I'm going to weather that at some point as well. So that's the coated armour done on the front bit of the horse. I'll probably go back and put another wee slight highlight on that as well, but right now that's okay. Just keep picking these parts of the armour up as I go around the horse. I find that I was quite rubbish at explaining how I was painting things when people were asking me questions using. I don't know what the quality is like for you guys when you're watching the video, but it seems okay in what I'm seeing here. I don't know if it's pixelated or whether you're actually seeing a better quality picture tonight, but I have tried to improve the camera. To be honest, the painting bottles have had the lids off them for so long because of the way that I paint, and a lot of the paint has evaporated. As you know, to keep your paints properly, you should be sealing the lid on top of the paint. I paint that many figures and I paint that fast that the paint never really gets a chance to dry up properly. But I should really be putting the lids back on the paints more tighter than what I do. I know all the things I should be doing, but again, it's about speed and trying to get troops on the table. Troops on the table to a certain standard, I should say, because I'm not happy with just firing off figures that I'm never going to be happy with. There have to be a certain standard that I'm happy with to go on the table. It's looking okay. And now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of desert yellow and I'm just going to put a very, very top highlight into that quilt armour, just touching the top of the diamond pattern. Again, you'll be able to see this when you get the close-ups of the images, just to make it look like the quilt is quite textured. I really admire the way that George does that. He seems to highlight the highlight on leather armour and stuff, which is just amazing amount of detail. So it's beginning to rise up a little bit. See it? So it's crazy because I'm going to actually be feathering on some dust onto the bottom of the horse here and probably covering up an awful lot of this armour that I'm painting. And what's there? Just brush dance around there. Just have a quick look up and see if there's any other questions. George, add a little bit of ivory for the last one. Yeah, that's spot on. I wasn't going to go to that level of detail, but because you're here, George, I'll do that. Highlighting this. Do you know what, George? I'm not going to do that tonight. I might go back to the horse at some point and do that, but I really want to get other things painted for this game that Finn and I are going to be out on the armour for me. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some washes to the bottom of the horse, his legs. So I was once told rules about painting horses, and I was told that you should never see socks of different colours on horses. Then I keep seeing things that are contrary to that when I look at real horses. So I don't really pay too much attention to the rules that stuff. I go out and I see horses round about me in the rural area I stay that actually have the things that people have said they shouldn't have. So I'll give you a good one for that. I was once told that a horse should never have 4 white socks, and that certain colour horses should have different colour socks. And then, as I say, when I go out in the fields here, I see completely contradictions to that. So I'm just taking that wash that I've got. Now the wash I'm using for that is Agrax Earthshade. I'm just taking that Agrax Earthshade and I'm going over the saddle now. I'm just pushing the Agrax Earthshade into the recesses as I'm painting. I'm just trying to get the most of that done. It's beginning to look like a half decent job now. I'm going to take some of that and I'm going to put it in the eye socket of the horse on the 2 sides, and where the ears meet the body of the horse is pattern comparison around about the noses, and that's good. Now, as I said to you, I really don't have patience. I also don't have hair, but one of the best tools I have is a hairdryer. So I'm just going to hit that, turning it as I'm doing it. That's dried off what I was wanting there. So I'm going to take some of that shade again. I'm going to mix it so it's quite the dirt has been splashed up and hitting that area there. Okay, that's beginning to look well. Any other questions coming in there? Looking forward to watching the whole thing in a lag-free edition. So I take it it's lagging a little bit then, guys. Just trying to do that. Hopefully when the video gets published, you may be able to see it a little bit better. Maybe the other guys can answer you, Lucas, to see if it's just you that's having the lag in the video. My son's watching it on a iPad next to me, so I'm just going to ask Finn what he's been like with lag. Has there been a lot of lag on the video? Finn says it's been quite okay. So I just take the brown paint and I'm just going to highlight up a little bit the saddle. Where the saddle hits the light. It's fine. And now what I'm going to do is take flat brown. So I've got the Foundry Bay C and flat brown, and the flat brown is going to fade that leather out, and it will go right round the edges of the saddle and the horse's reins, and it'll just look like faded leather. I hope we'll add a little bit of ivory into that too. So I'm just picking up the actual saddle. I'm going to be feathering in. So Paul's getting a fair bit of lag as well. Okay. Okay, I'll just keep going with this. And I'm going to paint the straps here. The straps on the horse's reins with that faded leather. And this will probably be the last video that I'll do until I can try and get some of the technology worked out. You guys have been enjoying it. Okay, that's the horse's leather done. I'm just going to take some of that Bay Brown C and I'm going to try and paint in some of the details on the horse's legs. And I'm just going for the top raised areas on the horse's legs now, because I'll be putting another wash over that. The raised areas of the belly, down to the knees on the horse, and all the joints that are raised. I'll be giving a little bit of that Bay Brown C, just a touch to highlight the raised areas, trying to keep it subtle. It's beginning to look okay. Just going to do the horse's ears with that, just to make them a wee bit lighter at the top. And then the last thing I'm going to do, well, not the last thing, but one of the last things is I'm going to paint a couple of white socks on the horse. I'm just using ivory as a first colour on that. Again, because I'll be putting a nice gentle wash over that as well. Just water down that ivory and just make it flood into the bits of the horse's sock. And then I'm going to use that feathering technique when you press down and the brushes thank you, Lucas, for sticking with it. I'm just going to feather out as I'm hitting the bottom of the horse's sock. And what happens is then the brush then opens up and it makes a nice feather pattern as it goes up the horse's sock and it makes it look like it's actual hair. So it's again another technique that I use a lot is feathering. So I'll give him a black sock at the back or an umber one. Just wash that out. I'll just add some ink into that. Just wash down the back of the sock just for speed. The two socks at the back of the horse. Just looking okay. And then I'm going to take some pure white and I'm going to feather in over the top of that ivory. I'm going to mix the white into the ivory colour and I'm just going to feather in below the last feather that I put in at the horse's socks. So again, there's a gradual layer of white getting built up. I was going to give up doing these videos after I did the first ones and the quality wasn't great, but because I'd started something I wanted to finish it, so I'll keep going until this is all done. Everybody's seen the whole process from start to finish. This would normally take me a lot quicker. I'd be a lot quicker at doing this if I wasn't trying to do these videos and work's been busy, the day job's been busy. I'm not a professional figure painter. I have a day job that's quite demanding. This is my relaxation time. So I'm just going to feather in a pure white now round about the very bottom of the horse's sock, which again I'll be hitting that with. Just you can see the sock starting to take shape. Add that pure white and I'll be going to the very top of the raised areas on the horse's sock now. Now, one of the things I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that burnt umber, not burnt umber, olive drab mix that I've got there, and I'm just going to put a watery wash right between the horse's skin colour and the horse's sock to try and blend that sock into the horse. And I'm going to take some ivory and brown, and then I'm going to put the actual horse hoof on. Let's just do that very, very quickly all around the horse, because hopefully when the rider's on, you'll pay more attention to the rider anyway. Take that right round. Okay. Just about there now, guys. I'm going to take some of my barbarian flesh and just put a very faint brown nose onto the horse. Get some of that out. I'm just going to add that to that rubbishy mix that I've got. I'm just going to put a little highlight on the front of the nose of the horse. Ever so slightly, never so faintly. He's one of the figure painters I admire the very most is Andrew Taylor, and he gets very subtle transitions in his colours, so I've always tried to be like that, looking at his work. So just get a little bit more of that. I'm just going to go right round the nose, nostrils of the horse. A lighter version of that flesh dirty mix that I've made. And the teeth. Take pure white now, and I'm just going to put a dot in the horse's eye. At the very top of the horse, I used to put 2 dots in, but Simon Chick was giving me a row for that because of the way horses' eyes are, and I quite agree with him. So I changed to just putting in the one dot right at the top. Just feather in a little bit on the nostril now. Perfect. I'm going to change brushes now. I'm going to take one of my older rubbishy brushes and I'm going to dry brush the horse's tail with a slight off black. Just take some of the white I had on the palette here, mix that to make a dirty white, dirty black, and then I'm just going to dry brush in a little bit of light towards the end of the tail. So I'm dry brushing lighter at the back of the horse. Do that, highlight that up a little bit and keep going, highlighting the socks on the horse. He's just about done now, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the dirt round about the comparison. Can I ask Claymore Caston's going to remain focused on the 100 Years' War, or do you have any plans for other ranges? Yes, Charlie, we do have plans for other ranges. We are going to focus on getting the 100 Years' War range, early 100 Years' War range completed. But Matt and I are in talks about another range that's coming up now, but I don't want to start talking about that because people will start asking when we're going to do it, and we really can't give any timescales on that, Charlie, but I will tell you it's another medieval range. And what's Mark saying? White socks, these horses are said to be more sensible for hoof diseases, but they are beautiful in a figure. And I'm like, yep, okay, great information there. But what brand white am I using? Paul's asking. A white's a white to me, Paul. I know that you're a fantastic figure painter, Paul, and you'll be like cringing at the things I'm saying, but that's just a white that's from Army Painter. Any whites are okay to me because I very seldom paint just pure white. I usually just mix it into something anyway. So the dusting round about the bottom of the horse, I've got my old brush here. Could you see I'm actually stippling it against the paper or the cellophane I have? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently aim for the very bottom of the horse fabric, and I'm going to stipple in with that flat earth. I'm just going to stipple in like a dirt pattern all the way around the bottom of the horse, ever so slightly. You could barely even see it, even in a close-up photograph, but I know it's there. I'm just going to stipple that in all the way around, dirtying it up. And I've just got one last thing to do, which is put the metal work into the horse's bit, or whatever it's called, the horse shoes. I'm just going to take a wee bit of silver, pure silver, add a little bit of olive drab to that. I'm just going to paint and highlight it again. So gently. Again, you'll be able to see a lot of this when I talk about it, when you see the close-ups, and you'll be able to see all the mistakes I've made. And the horse is done. So once he's matte varnished, things should really start to appear on the horse that you can't see in the camera here, and I'll photograph that. Charlie, yep, another medieval range. I'm talking to Matt about how we do that just now. We're very keen on that, so hopefully that will take shape. But I am going to focus on finishing the 100 Years' War range first. So that's the horse done. I'd like to say thank you to you guys for bearing with me with all the lag and all the quality that you've had there. Hopefully if the video is stopped streaming, it could maybe be played back a little bit better. But again, thank you guys, and I'm just going to end the stream now, and I'll put some pictures up on the Saxondog Facebook group. Thank you.